Hello everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and welcome back to the Encyclomedia show, and let's talk more about the Walt Disney Treasure series. We've done 5 waves, let's do wave 6. Now, I always use a word or a term to describe each wave of the series, and for wave 6, I think it would be concerning. Concerning because while there were at least 2 sets in here that I really liked, and one that I didn't really like but I thought was necessary, the 4th release, while not bad, seemed to suggest that the series was running out of gas. That maybe it would be best to just wrap this up soon. Now, it didn't wrap up soon, thank goodness. We had 4 more waves after this, and it had a lot of life in it. And in fact, by the end, I would argue that there was more life to be had. But for this wave, for the first time, disappointment was really rampant and really obvious because I think they dropped the ball on at least one key thing. But let's see what the titles were. I'm sorry, tongue-tied. So the first one, and this one, do not care for it too much. Glad to have it, but not one that I go back to very often. The Complete Pluto Volume 2, 1947 to 1951. No offense against Pluto. I appreciate the art of the visual animation, the fact that Pluto does not talk, and therefore his his humor is all through his facial expressions. I like that, but you know what? They aren't that entertaining in my opinion. There's some good ones, but the best ones involve him paired with Mickey Mouse, which you know that you're probably not that interesting of a character if you need Mickey Mouse to help carry the short with you, if you know what I mean. So this is what the back looked like. Just typical back. And in here we have our certificate of authenticity. This one is number 36,953 out of 65,000. So they didn't give Pluto a whole lot of love. And of course we have our little booklet. I'm probably going to stop flipping through the booklets. I don't know why I keep doing it. It's not like there's much to show. And Rescue Dog is the lithograph for this one, with the trivia on the back being, before Pluto became Mickey's faithful pup in 1931's The Moose Hunt, he was Minnie Mouse's dog Rover in The Picnic, his second appearance in a cartoon which premiered at the end of 1930. Might have been more interesting to put on Volume 1, but what are you going to do? Here's what the discs look like. As you can see, they're still doing this little flip thing, and I definitely prefer that over the previous design that they had. So that was the Complete Pluto Volume 2. I'm glad they made this one. I'm not going to be going back to it very often. One that I am glad that they made, though, was more Silly Symphonies. This is basically the other Silly Symphonies that they couldn't quite figure out where to put in Volume 1, or they just didn't have any room for it. I don't know. Here's the back. Pretty typical stuff. And let's see how they did with the numbering on this one. 65,000 copies. That's it, 65,000 copies. I got copy number 19,013. The lithograph of this was for summer, with the trivia reading, from the original innovation behind Silly Symphonies, creating a cartoon around music, the series was a continuing platform for imagination and experimentation. A number of Silly Symphony titles have the distinction of showcasing a first use of Technicolor, first use of Disney's multiplane camera, and more. So, nothing really new there. And I actually like the designs of these discs because they definitely highlight the variety. They have the black and white cartoon on one and the color on the other. Oh, by the way, this short with the cats, excellent short. That's definitely one to hunt out. This case is actually kind of falling apart, I just noticed, and that bothers me because I like to keep these in good condition if I can help it. I'm going to swim that for last. Second one that I was really glad to see, in fact, I wish they had done more of these ones, the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys, I'm not going to lie, I love the Hardy Boys. I love the books, and the Disneyland TV show I thought was a great adaptation of them, great serial. In fact, Hardy Boys was so good that whenever we went on vacation and they had the Disney Channel, they used to have Walt Disney at night, which would be like old cartoons, vintage cartoons, Disneyland episodes. And I would watch Disneyland just for the Hardy Boys. And then, of course, for some reason, they decided that Disney fans couldn't have those 4 hours at the god-awful hours of 12 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. And they had to have more Lizzie McGuire, so that tradition came to an end. And now you don't see vintage Disney stuff on TV at all, even though I would argue I think that would be very well received. But anyway, so this is the back. They all kind of look the same. Let's see here. Another 65,000 copies, and I got 48,768. So this is the lithograph that it came with. The trivia: while most of the Hardy Boys, The Mystery of the Applegate Treasure takes place outdoors, practically the whole series was shot indoors on stage 2 of the Disney studio, including the Applegate grounds and the railroad yard. So I think most people know that if they watch it, but it's still interesting. Thankfully, I am pleased to report that the Hardy Boys are not colored, and as evidence on the discs. They have one Hardy Boy for each disc. So that is definitely nice, because I am against colorization, which we will get to that at some point, but thankfully not till near the end. This is the one where I was wondering a little bit. Your host, Walt Disney. Now, the reason this one bothered me the most is because it had the most reruns. Most of the episodes on this were on previous sets, like Disneyland and the Mickey Mouse Club. The highlight of this set is a TV special that Walt Disney himself acted in for Disneyland. And it turned out he was actually a really good actor. Like, he could act, he was subtle, he had the emotion range, he had charisma, which makes sense because he was Uncle Walt on TV. He was on TV, and, when you watch these, I know Walt Disney gets like a bad rap that he was sexist, he was this, he was that, things that aren't necessarily founded, but people will talk. But when you watch the TV specials that he was on, you really get the idea that Walt Disney back then was like a grand uncle. He wasn't a corporate man, he wasn't a businessman, he wasn't even the founder of a conglomerate. He was Uncle Walt. And by the way, I love how in the back they just have a little, that's great. Of course, that's what's going to be on the lithograph. This one, again, 65,000 copies. I got 45,442. So, and that's a better shot of him. The trivia is, in 1954, Walt Disney embraced the small screen, and Disney became the first major studio to produce a weekly television series, Disneyland, aka Walt Disney Presents and Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color. And if we go to the discs, see, this is kind of cool. Like, I like the designs on the discs. There's just Walt Disney doing what he does. I will say, I think the reason they made this set the way they did, and they selected the episodes that they did, including the first episode of Disneyland again, is because I think at this point, the series was, even though they were cutting down on how many sets they actually produced, they were getting popular through word of mouth, and they were giving people another chance to own them. And the sets, I kind of get the sense that they needed the sets to have something either about Mickey Mouse or Walt Disney. There would be one set in each wave, with the exception of one wave, which is noticeable, and that will cap off our series. And so they just did a lot of repeat stuff. And you know what? I'll gladly buy the set, but it was disappointing, to say the least. So, recap. Complete Pluto Volume 2, more silly symphonies, Hardy Boys, your host, Walt Disney. Oh, I forgot to tell you how much these will normally set you back for. Well, this will normally set you back $30 to $40 used, about $50 to $80 brand new. This will set you back $50 used, $100 to $150 brand new. This one will probably set you back $20 to $30, whether it's new or used. So, I don't know why. This one will ironically set you back the most, even though it has the most repeated material. This will set you back like 100 to 150 used, 200 to 300 brand new. Overall, you're probably looking at around $200-300 for the whole set, depending on where you shop. Actually, all things considered, it's probably one of the cheaper waves you can collect. If your host Walt Disney wasn't so darn expensive, it might even have been the cheapest wave you could have gotten. But, you know, there you go. So, anyway, that is Wave 6 of the Walt Disney Treasures. Tune in next time for Wave 7. We've got 4 more waves to go, and then we'll be done. I know, let's try not to get too teary-eyed, but it had to come to an end sooner or later. So, anyway, comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.